Hello, gamers and operators. My name is Icebergs, and today we're going to review the reports and leaked information about Battlefield 2042 and why it's going to be the biggest game of 2021. A brief history of Battlefield. Battlefield, the massive online series, became publicly available in 2002 and has remained a staple and a favorite of the first-person shooter genre ever since. As with all games in this class, it's had its highs and lows, its ups and downs. One of its lowest points being Battlefield 5 due to the highly controversial pay-to-win feature and the market saturation of World War II games upon its release. It's also had its high points such as Battlefield 4, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 2042, this year's highly anticipated release. Although Battlefield has remained a consistently good franchise and game throughout all of these ups and downs. Now on to what we know so far about Battlefield 2042 and why it's going to be the best game of 2021 and 2022. Here's why Battlefield 2042 is going to be one of the best developed games in history. We know Battlefield 2042 will be the best developed game in history, and this is due to the consolidated knowledges and technological advances of EA, DICE, and Criterion, the big three names working on the game, but in fact not the only three. The production team behind Battlefield 2042 is massive. As a matter of fact, EA actually produced end-of-life updates for Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 just so they could pull the development and production teams over to assist with Battlefield 2042. Along with a recent update a month ago from the EA CEO saying that the game was already finished and they were in fit and finish with the game, meaning that they were polishing up and looking for glitches in the game or anything that might be problematic to a player. With all this in mind, you can understand why Battlefield 2042 is going to be the best developed and most well-made game in history. The lack of campaign and the budget. Nowadays, with AAA games, they typically cost about $60 to $80 million to produce. Call of Duty 2019 cost $300 million to produce, with a quarter to a third of their total cost going into the campaign and a third to half their total cost going into advertising for the game. That actually leaves roughly about a third of the total cost for the game, or less, just for multiplayer. We know that Battlefield 4 cost $100 million, and with a third of their total revenue was going into the campaign. Battlefield 5 spent $3 million on their intro sequence alone. This year, we're going to see Battlefield 2042 take a brave new step. They're going to completely get rid of the campaign, and they're going to expend all of that money into the multiplayer. And we already know that their cost is going to be about $300 million. With $200 million being spent on multiplayer and game assets, we know that this will be the most expensive multiplayer game ever. Especially considering that the closest we've gotten so far was GTA 5, coming in at roughly $100 million just for the multiplayer features. This is going to be the largest budget and the most well-developed multiplayer game we've seen in history, along with EA and DICE taking an emphasis on fan-favorite features and going for a player experience model that they have not done before. This is ensuring Battlefield 2042 is going to be the game of 2021 and 2022. The reintroduction of Levolution. Levolution is going to be making an exciting return in Battlefield 2042. Levolution was first introduced in Battlefield 4. It was the highly anticipated and highly marketed feature of that game that really fell flat on its face. It became very binary, linear, predictable. You knew what building was going to fall over and exactly how it would fall over. You knew when the dam broke, exactly what streets would be flooded and how flooded they would be. It was very predictable as much as it was sold to be this unpredictable game-changing feature. With Battlefield 2042, we know this is not going to be the case. In Battlefield 2042, everything will be destructible. Every building will be able to be destroyed, every staircase, everything. This is more destructible than we've ever seen, more destructible than Battlefield Bad Company 2. Along with completely random weather. The weather will show up at random points in the match, or maybe not even show up in this match, or show up for 10 matches. There will also be different levels of severity within these weather conditions. You might see a sandstorm, and the next match you might see a sandstorm and a tornado together. Or you might see a thunderstorm, and the following match have a hurricane. Each of these levels will be different depending on the match, and will be completely random. Like I said, you might not see it this match, but you might see it for the next 3 matches. The reintroduction of Levolution and the severity of weather is going to make gameplay that much better, and I'm highly anticipating these features in Battlefield 2042. The thought of being sucked into a hurricane and thrown back out to continue combat is just a mind-boggling feature to me. The largest conflicts we've ever seen. Battlefield 2042 will boast the largest conflicts we've ever seen in any Battlefield game, with having 128 players or more in a match, and having maps larger than the Bandar Desert map. And if you remember correctly, the Bandar Desert map was closely 5 square kilometers in size. Along with EA saying that there won't be a Battle Royale in this game. So there will be none of that Battle Royale features, and all their money, like I previously stated, being spent in the multiplayer, is ensuring that we will have the best multiplayer and conflicts experience we've ever seen in a Battlefield game. Battlefield has also redesigned and completely improved the combat system, with weapons being able to change attachments on the fly. Meanwhile, you're in an elevator going up to a top story, you can change what your weapon is attached with for longer ranges, or change it in combat for closer ranges. Battlefield 2042 will have the largest weapons database and the largest vehicles database in any Battlefield we've ever seen before. This means more weapons, more attachments, more vehicles, and more ways to kit out all of your operators to be personalized for you and how you want to play. Meaning Battlefield 2042 will have the best weapon system we've ever seen in a video game, and the best vehicle system, having at least 3 slots in vehicles for attachments or different modifications. The last and most important feature of why Battlefield 2042 is going to be the best game of 2021 and 2022, a lack of competition. Battlefield's major competition has always been the Call of Duty franchise. But things are not looking good for the Call of Duty franchise this year. Via leaked information from reliable sources and investor calls, at this time of the year they usually have a working game. Call of Duty does not have a working game right now, and in fact the game is in such bad condition that they already have a recovery roadmap set up for what to do if the game cannot be released. The more information we find out about the Call of Duty game this year, the more troubling it gets. The Call of Duty franchise is going to release a World War II game called Call of Duty World War II Vanguard. The last World War II game that Call of Duty released was one of the most poorly rated Call of Duty games in all of time. It was full of microtransactions and ways to make the player pay to win. There's been a huge pushback on World War II games recently just because of an oversaturation in the market. Everybody is making a World War II game right now. Call of Duty made one, Battlefield made one, Enlisted is another World War II game that's come to the top of my mind. There are so many World War II games that everyone is just tired of. And frankly, I am too. I am happy to see that Battlefield is taking a step into the future instead of looking into the past, as most franchises are doing right now. But to be honest, Call of Duty has kind of shot themselves in the foot. With having a game that was so negatively reviewed and saying we're going to make another game like it, they're just injuring themselves in their profit margins. Whereas Battlefield 2042 will be a fan-driven game. A game made for the fans, giving the fans what they've always wanted, and giving the fans all the features that they loved in previous Battlefield games. This means that Call of Duty will not even hold a candle to what Battlefield will achieve this year. In-game purchases. Now, EA has a very bad habit of trying to do microtransactions and pay-to-win in games, and we've seen a huge pushback onto EA from this fact. In Battlefield 2042, there will be no pay-to-win. And in fact, all microtransactions in-game will be purely cosmetic and have no effect on your gameplay. We're going to see something more along the lines of what we saw for the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 release, where even in the pre-order, you can get skins and character packs that have no effect on your gameplay. They are just looks and cosmetics. That is the step that I believe all games should be taking at this point with microtransactions in the game, as something that's purely cosmetic and has no effect on your gameplay. My last thoughts. Battlefield 2042 is going to be the best game of 2021 and 2022. And with all the information I've presented to you, you must understand why. The new features, the size and scale, the selective skins, the lack of a pay-to-win in an EA game. I'm excited for the Battlefield release, and for the new details as they come out. So come back to the channel and check me out for more details as they release, and I will keep you updated on what's going on in the Battlefield world. This is Iceberg signing off, and remember everyone, stay frosty.